I told you, kid, it's junk. That's what the old trader said. But when the drone's eye flickered to life and whispered, status, mission interrupted, Gage realized this scrap had a store. Kid, that's not salvage. That's a sarcophagus. The trader's voice rasped through his throat tube, eyes glinting beneath heavy goggles. He gestured toward the half-buried war drone jutting out of the scrap dunes like a forgotten monument. You drag that thing back and it'll curse your shop. Or worse, explode in your face. Gage didn't respond. He was already knee-deep in the rusted sand, brush in one hand, scanner in the other. The readings were faint, erratic, like a heartbeat decades after death. But they were there. That's not just junk, he murmured. It's trying to breathe. The trader muttered something in Vrecken, spit oil, and drove his crawler away. Oryx Drift was a floating scrap ring, orbiting nothing. Built on the bones of old war wrecks, forgotten tech, and broken promises. Gage had grown up here, born between fusion cells and oxidized hull plating, raised by no one, mentored by malfunctioning AIs and the occasional soft-hearted scavenger. He'd made his life finding whispers in the junk, tech that wasn't dead, just sleeping. And today, something was whispering louder than usual. The drone wasn't small. 7 feet tall, built like a collapsed tank, armor plates scorched with age. Most of the paint was gone, but Gage spotted a faint emblem on its chest, 3 crimson bars crossed with a black arc. He frowned. That emblem wasn't in any alien database. He tapped his earpiece. Chiv, run a symbol match. Tag, 3 red, black arc. A sputter, then the toaster-sized maintenance bot responded. Negative match. Possible corruption. Or something older than the last 5 galactic cycles. Older than 500 years? Gage squinted at the unit. Is that even possible? On Oryx? Everything's possible. Including stupidity. Which you're currently demonstrating. Gage smirked. Shut up and warm the pull cradle. I'm bringing this thing home. By nightfall, the drone was strapped onto a hover-bay sled, wheezing as it coasted toward his corner of the station. His workshop was little more than welded-together crates stacked beneath a broken neon sign that used to say, Service. Now it blinked, Vice. He didn't bother with ceremony. He rolled the drone onto the slab, cracked his knuckles, and got to work. Hours passed. Layers of dirt, corrosion, and synthetic flesh peeled away. The internal core was cracked, but intact. Traces of high-density nano-weave tech. Nothing he recognized. Nothing the current galaxy even used. He tapped his earpiece again. Chiv, scan the neural grid. Anything live. A pause. There's a flicker. Like static, wait. The drone's chest sparked. A single red optic snapped open with a mechanical whir, staring at the ceiling. Then it blinked. Gage froze. Hi, he said, stepping back. The drone's systems groaned. Servos hissed. Slowly, it lifted its torso, spine grinding against years of grit. Diagnostic, 87% systems failure, it said in a metallic voice. Then, it turned its head toward Gage. DNA match confirmed. Rank, Commander. It saluted. Gage blinked. What? 10 minutes later, Gage sat across from the drone, staring like it might explode if he breathed wrong. The machine, who had introduced itself as V-19 Victor, remained motionless except for the faint hum of its core spinning up. You said, Commander? Gage asked carefully. Correct. I'm not military. Correction. Your genome is registered to Command Lineage Protocol, Terran Armed Intelligence Division, Clearance Theta 7. Final designation, Successor. Terran. Victor's head tilted. You are human. Well, yeah. But the Terran systems are gone. Have been for centuries. We lost Earth. Everyone knows that. The drone paused. For a moment, silence stretched between them like a tightening wire. Humanity is not lost, Victor said. It is hidden. Gage tried to focus. He pulled up old files, searched registries, called in every half-functioning decryption AI he had. No hits on Terran databases. No records of any military lineages with his name. His father had been a scavenger. At least, that's what he'd been told. Died during a fuel burst. Gage barely remembered him. Just a voice, humming through static. "What's your mission?" Gage asked finally. Victor's answer was immediate. To await the return of the successor. Upon identification, initiate fallback recovery protocols. Secure the legacy. What's the legacy? Unknown. File corrupted. Must reconnect to Command Vault for clarity. Where's that? Coordinates embedded in core memory. Locked until authentication achieved. Authentication by who? You. Gage sighed and leaned back. I fix vending machines. I weld broken pistons. I don't awaken long-dead war machines and trigger ancient human doomsday files. Victor looked at him, expressionless. You just did. News spread fast on Oryx. A human boy activated a Terran war drone. Within hours, Gage had visitors. The first was Felmtrack, a Veltari diplomat with breath that smelled like boiling fish. He offered Gage a generous price for Victor. Gage politely declined. The second was more serious. 3 armed Zahn enforcers who didn't knock. You will hand over the drone, one growled. Gage stood calmly. I wouldn't recommend that. Why? The drone behind him stepped forward. The temperature in the room dropped. I am fully online, Victor said, voice like a blade drawn in a dark room. And I will defend my commander. The lead Zarn backed up. Gage smiled, just a little. That's why. That night, Gage sat on the roof of his workshop, legs dangling off the edge. Victor stood beside him, scanning the horizon like a sentinel. You sure I'm who you think I am? Gage asked. You match every metric. DNA. Behavioral. Leadership potential. I don't feel like a leader. You reawakened a piece of history and didn't run when it saluted you. Gage laughed, a dry, tired sound. Maybe I'm just bad at running. Victor looked at him. Or maybe you're exactly who we were waiting for. Below, the scrapyard buzzed. Lights flickered. Ships moved like beetles across metal bones. In the distance, buried under centuries of silence, old tech waited to breathe again. The moment lingered. Ryan didn't breathe. Didn't blink. He wasn't even sure his heart remembered how. The drone's glowing red optics pulsed once, then again, before a mechanical voice finally echoed from its chest speaker. Primary protocols restored. Command recognition enabled. Awaiting input, Commander. Ryan backed up so quickly he nearly tripped over a hydraulic hose. His mouth hung open like it had more questions than words. Wait, what? Commander, he muttered. I'm 16. I fix busted power drills, not lead armies. The war drone remained still, its massive body humming with barely restrained energy. It was awake, watching, and apparently mistaking him for someone important. Ryan glanced around the workshop, as if hoping an adult would magically appear to handle the situation. Nope. Just him, a blinking drone, and the weird smell of burnt copper. Hi there, Ryan said slowly, cautiously. I'm not who you think I am. Facial scan. 87% match to Commander Elric Voss. DNA signature. Incomplete. Voice print. Degraded, but consistent. Command override possible. The voice was low, mechanical, but something about it sounded respectful. As if it didn't just see a boy, it saw a ghost of something greater. Did you say Elric Voss? Ryan whispered. That name. It rang like a bell in the back of his mind. Faint, but familiar. It was scrawled in fading ink across the inside panel of the drone's access hatch. He'd thought it was a manufacturer's mark. Maybe not. I'm Ryan. Ryan Voss, he admitted. Elric was my father. Silence followed. Then, Confirmed. Bloodline inheritance detected. Subordinate protocols initiating. I am Unit A, 7X. Designation: Sentinel. Operational since year 2321. Mission file. Classified. Shall I brief you, Commander? Ryan blinked, jaw clenching. I think I need to sit down. He dropped into a cracked polymer stool, heart thudding. His father had vanished years ago on some off-world expedition, declared legally dead after his ship's signal vanished near the quarry rift. No wreckage. No explanation. Just gone. No one ever mentioned a war drone. I didn't even know he built you, Ryan murmured. He didn't, Sentinel replied. He led me. That landed like a hammer. His dad hadn't been an engineer. He'd been a commander, military, maybe, which made Ryan's casual repair project a lot more complicated and dangerous. What exactly were you built for? He asked carefully. Sentinel's eyes dimmed for a second, as if passing through ancient memories. When he spoke again, the tone had changed. He wasn't just reciting data, he was remembering. I was built to end wars before they began. Interdiction. Reconnaissance. Termination. My frame holds 56 onboard weapon systems. My mind was built to adapt. A pause. A whisper of static. But I was also built to protect your father. Ryan swallowed. Protect him from what? From what he saw coming. The lights in the workshop flickered. A surge rolled through the floor like a warning tremor. Ryan stood, nerves coiling. Tell me everything, he said. Sentinel's metal chest opened, revealing a projection module. Holographic light shimmered, forming the outline of a galactic map, but it was one Ryan had never seen in any school databook. This one had sectors blacked out, marked in red. Others were labeled with human emblems, and several with unfamiliar alien sigils. Whoa! Are those invasion markers? No, Sentinel replied. Those are where we invaded. The image shifted, displaying battalions of humans in sleek, predatory armor, faces hidden behind mirrored visors. Drones like Sentinel followed behind them like shadows. Elric Voss was part of a contingency. An operation called Umbra Vow, designed by the Terran High Command to act only if humanity's diplomatic efforts failed. Failed. Ryan echoed. So, we were planning for peace, but preparing for war? No, Sentinel said flatly. We offered peace as a distraction. The real plan was already moving. Ryan's stomach twisted. Why didn't anyone know? Because your father buried the truth, Sentinel answered. He turned on the project. Went dark. Took me with him. Said humans had already won the moment we smiled and offered a handshake. Wait, Ryan said, connecting dots. You're telling me we're not the underdogs? Sentinel leaned forward, servos whining slightly. Humanity is not feared because we're strong. We're feared because we're patient. Because we're polite. Because when we say we want peace, we mean it, until we don't. Then we burn everything. Ryan took a long, unsteady breath. Why come back now? Why wake up after 7 centuries? Because someone is coming. Something your father knew would return. And because you, Ryan Voss, reactivated me. Ryan looked down at his grease-covered hands. I just wanted to fix something broken. You didn't fix me, Sentinel said. You resurrected a war. A sharp bang echoed outside the workshop, a metallic thump against the outer door. Ryan tensed. That's not normal. Scan indicates 2 life forms. One armed. One not. Ryan glanced at the wall-mounted monitor, flipping through cameras. 2 figures approached. Tall, alien silhouettes. The lead one had glinting metal skin and 4 glowing eyes. They don't look like repo men. They're not, Sentinel confirmed. They're scouts. From the Vor. The Vor? Ryan asked. I thought they were extinct. Only on record. They were the reason your father ran. The door lock clicked. Ryan swore under his breath. All right. Hide. Go back into sleep mode or something. Negative. I will not leave my commander unguarded. No. If they see you. Too late. The workshop door slid open, revealing the Vor scouts. They stepped inside slowly, weapons low but ready. One of them looked at Ryan and hissed in a language he didn't understand. He smiled awkwardly. Can I help you fellas? The Vor scanned the room, then froze. Their eyes met Sentinel's glowing optics. The war drone stood, full height, metal frame clicking into combat posture. Designation confirmed. Terran War Relic A-7X. The second Vor stepped back, visibly shaken. That's impossible. Those units were purged. Sentinel spoke, voice like thunder wrapped in velvet. Then consider this a ghost. And I don't like being disturbed. Target locked. The words echoed through the dusty chamber. Jace didn't move. His breath hitched, heart skittering like a faulty capacitor. The drone, the war drone, stood fully activated, towering over him. Its optical sensors burned a dull crimson. For a second, he thought he'd made a horrible mistake. But then the voice shifted. Apologies. Auto-defense systems re-engaged. False positive. Biological reading. Human. Cross-checking. Match confirmed. Commander Jace Maloran. Terrafleet designation Aegis Protocol 4. What? Jace blinked. Commander who? The drone straightened, servo joints whirring like an orchestra tuning for battle. It is an honor to see you functional again, sir. Jace stared. His name. His name had been embedded in the thing's memory core. I think you've got the wrong guy, Jace said carefully. My name's Jace Maloran, yeah, but I'm a mechanic. I fix flyers. I don't command anything except greasy hydrospanners. The war drone didn't flinch. DNA verification, 99.987% match to genetic command signature. You are my commander. Protocol dictates I submit for mission reinstatement. Oh no. No. Jay stepped back, hands raised. I just woke you up because I was curious, not trying to lead some metal murder machine. The drone's optics flared once, then dimmed. Standby mode denied. Too late. Protocol re-engaged. From a far wall, an ancient console crackled to life. Holograms flickered, war maps, fleet symbols, and one blinking phrase. Operation Final Ember. Status incomplete. Jace groaned. I hate when machines are overly dramatic. Just then, a series of deep, metallic groans echoed through the ruin. The floor vibrated. Something else had been triggered. The drone turned toward the sound. Secondary systems responding to my activation. This installation is waking. Before Jace could respond, the drone stepped forward and extended an armored hand. You require armament. Armor. A briefing. Jace narrowed his eyes. I require a nap. Maybe coffee. Maybe for you to power down and pretend none of this happened. The drone paused. Commander humor detected. Noted. He sighed. You really don't know how to read the room, do you? Before another witty remark could leave his lips, the ground gave a sharp jolt beneath them. Dust rained from the ceiling. Warning glyphs lit up the old consoles. Then came a sound Jace hadn't heard in years, high-pitched and wrong. Alien. He froze. The drone rotated its sensor array. Detection. Zalnari Scout Beacon. Active. Signal strength increasing. They know. The Zalnari are extinct, Jace whispered. They were wiped out in the Purge Wars, right? The drone shook its head. Well, the equivalent of it. Extinction was propaganda. Surveillance logs suggest they went dark, not dead. But this facility's reactivation has drawn them out. Jace swallowed hard. You're saying turning you back on alerted something old and angry. Correct. You've reignited a war. He rubbed his temples. Of course I did. The drone began moving toward a bulkhead. This installation contains dormant weapon platforms, fleet backups, and intelligence caches. But they require manual override. We must restore command systems. You're dragging me into a war I didn't start. You're not starting it, Commander. You're finishing it. That sentence lingered like smoke. They moved quickly now, deeper into the forgotten structure. As they walked, massive doors hissed open at the drone's presence. Inside, rows of decommissioned combat shells rested in slumber, like iron giants waiting for thunder. Jace's unease grew with every step. Finally, they reached a central control chamber. The room pulsed faint blue with residual energy. A dusty plaque read, "Project Hammerfall, the last hope of Earth." "Wait. Earth?" Jace breathed. "You were built on Earth?" "Built beneath its oceans," the drone replied. "Before Earth fell silent." Jace's mind reeled. Fell silent. 3 centuries ago, communication with Earth ceased. Assumed hostile extinction event. This facility was buried here, on the fringe world of Dostera, as a contingency. And no one came back? The drone's silence was answer enough. Jace approached the console. His fingers hovered, unsure. The drone placed a hand beside his. Voice and biometric authentication required. Together. "Fine," Jace muttered. "But if this thing explodes, I'm blaming you." The moment their hands touched the panel, a soft tone played. Then a human voice, faint, familiar, filled the room. "If you're hearing this, Jace, you found it." Jace froze. That voice. It was his father. "They're coming back, son. Not just the Zalnari. Others, too. The Council of 9 was compromised. You were safer away. That's why I left you on Dostera. But if the Aegis ever reactivates, it means war's returned. And you're Earth's last chance." The message cut out. Jace stumbled backward, breath hollow. He left me to find this?" The drone stood still, watching him process. "I was just a kid. He said he was going to fix satellites. He never came back. He went to protect the last contingency," the drone said quietly. Something hardened in Jace's chest. He looked around the chamber. The dormant machines. The blinking console. His father's voice in the silence. "All right," Jace muttered. "Let's get this thing running." The drone tilted its head. "Mission parameters?" Jace exhaled sharply. "Simple. We find out who's still out there, and if they want to finish what they started." He pressed his hand on the console again, triggering activation. "Then we remind them what humans build when we're scared." The hum of ancient machinery deepened into a growl as dormant power lines surged awake. One by one, massive consoles blinked to life, casting cold blue light across the chamber. The war drone, designation Aegis, stepped forward, scanning the interface. Primary systems. Engaged. Armory vaults unlocked. Fleet command uplink. Damaged, but reparable. Jace barely heard him. His thoughts still reeled from the recorded message. His father had known. He'd planned for this. Left him here like a seed buried before the storm. Jace clenched his fists. If Earth's been silent for 300 years, why now? Why wake up? The drone didn't hesitate. Because something just knocked. A sharp alert cut through the silence. One screen filled with static, then focused on a starfield. A ship, sleek, dark, and bristling with strange antennae, drifted into view. "Unidentified vessel approaching at subliminal velocity," Aegis reported. Zalnari signature confirmed. "They really are back," Jace whispered. Aegis turned. "They're not back. They never left. They've been waiting, watching. Our activation forced their hand." Jace swallowed hard. "Then we need to be ready." He looked at the map. The drone pointed to a line of buried bays beneath the facility. Hangars Alpha through Delta House unmanned gunships, autonomous walkers, and one partially functional dreadnought. All require command relay to reinitialize. You're telling me I have to fix everything? Jace asked, already rubbing oil-stained fingers. You're the mechanic, Aegis replied. Jace gave a humorless smile. Fine. Then let's start with something loud. They descended through a sealed lift shaft, the walls lined with symbols from a forgotten age, wings of fire, the Terrafleet insignia, and an emblem Jace had only seen once in a broken database, a clenched fist holding a broken star. What was Hammerfall, really? He asked. A last resort, Aegis said. Earth's leadership knew extinction was not a single battle, but a sequence. Hammerfall was designed to break that sequence. They arrived at Hangar Delta. The doors parted with a shuddering groan, releasing stale air and the scent of old war. Inside, resting under thick carbon shrouds, was the dreadnought. Jace stopped dead. That's a Skybreaker class. I thought they were prototypes. It never flew, Aegis replied. Until now. The ship was jagged, asymmetrical, designed for intimidation as much as destruction. For engine nacelles protruded like spears. Beneath its hull, clustered plasma cannons twitched as systems began to wake. Jace approached the main access terminal. I'll need time. A lot of it. The AI cores probably fractured, and power relays this old aren't friendly. Aegis stepped beside him. I will assist. Jace glanced at him. You know how to run diagnostics? I was designed to eliminate hostiles in atmospheric and zero-G combat. Running a system check is within my capabilities. Glad to hear it. Hours passed. Jace worked in silence, wires threaded through his fingers, voice muttering commands into the ship's fragmented logic core. Sparks flew. Data scrolled. The Skybreaker groaned as if waking from a coma. Reactors are stable, he finally muttered. Weapons at 60%. Navigation is rough but usable. Then the main screen flickered, once, twice, before stabilizing. A cold, female voice echoed through the chamber. Designation: Skybreaker 1. Status: dormant. Awaiting command authority. Jace stepped back, breath shallow. Authorization: Maloran, Jace. Emergency command override. A pause. Then, confirmed. Commander Maloran. Initiating systems. The lights flared bright white. Weapon bays opened like yawning mouths. Engines throbbed low. Aegis tilted his head. She knows your name. Jace didn't respond. He stared at the behemoth he'd just brought back from the edge of technological death. A relic of a forgotten war, and now, perhaps, its harbinger again. Bring her online, he said. All systems. Full readiness. Meanwhile, above the planet's surface, the Zalnari scout ship entered orbit. Inside, sleek alien figures moved with graceful malice. Their leader, a tall, translucent-skinned being with silver bones, watched the planet through black eyes. Confirmed signal. Human war installation active. Unknown energy spike, possibly nuclear tier, one of its lieutenants hissed. The leader's voice crackled like ice breaking. Then the ember has relit itself. Initiate descent. Cleanse the surface. They launched 2 suborbital lances, long, needle-shaped dropships designed to pierce bedrock and annihilate anything below. Back in Hangar Delta, alarms screamed. Incoming projectiles, 2. Hypersonic. Impact in 40 seconds, Aegis said. Jace ran to the ship. We can't launch. Skybreaker's engines aren't primed. We don't launch, Aegis replied. We intercept. He activated his shoulder ports, twin particle repeaters unfolded, and dashed for the upper silo. Jace reached for the terminal. Can I at least fire defensive batteries? Yes, Aegis called back. But be quick. If I fail, they won't need a second strike. Jace's fingers flew across the controls. Skybreaker's port defense cannons emerged. He aligned the scope. The first projectile screamed through the upper atmosphere, a fiery dagger of annihilation. Jace gritted his teeth. Come on, just one clean shot. He fired. The blast lanced upward, a silver beam of compressed plasma, and struck the incoming lance dead center. It detonated mid-air in a burst of violet flame. First one down, Jace muttered. Second one is mine, Aegis said. From above, he launched himself from the silo, propelling upward using jet stabilizers hidden in his frame. The second lance angled downward fast. But Aegis was faster. He met it mid-fall, locked onto its casing, and ripped the guidance fins off. With a final surge, he shoved it off angle, just enough for it to miss the hangar, and slam harmlessly into the side of a mountain, exploding in a harmless plume of stone. He crashed back down moments later, armor scorched, but standing. Jace exhaled. Remind me never to doubt you again. Doubt keeps you alive, Aegis replied. Blind trust gets you killed. Later, they stood outside, beneath a bruised sky. The wreckage of the two lances smoked on the horizon. Jace looked up at the stars. They know we're here. They always knew, Aegis said. Now they know we remember. Jace turned toward the mountain, where Skybreaker's launch doors were slowly opening. Then let's finish what Earth started. The drone stood beside him, optics glowing. We will.